Okay, a post was made on Reddit. I believe it was today I learned that there is a film project in development by the Jim Henson Company, and it's been in development since 2008, called Happytime Murders. And this is going to be an R-rated film noir Muppet movie. But not with the traditional Muppets. I mean, there'll be
It's
original
not going to be
characters.
Kermit slaughtering like all of the little cockroach dudes or whatever.
But it's going to be a drama, a film noir detective story where a person is investigating a series of murders. And here's what the plot breakdown is. In a world where puppets coexist with humans as second-class citizens, puppet private eye and disgraced ex-cop Phil Phillips is hot on the trail of the serial killer who murdered his brother and is now targeting the cast members of the famous 80s television show The Happytime Gang. As the killings continue, Phil's former flame, Jenny, is next on the list. It's up to Phil and his ex-partner, Detective Edwards, to find the culprit. But as bad blood and old resentments resurface and clues start pointing in the only viable suspect, Phil himself. Now he's on the run with only his wits and hard-headed determination as he tries to solve the Happytime Murders. It's an adult puppet movie, which there actually has been one that came out back in the 80s called Meet the Feebles, directed by Peter Jackson.
Really?
Yes. Have you seen any of his older movies?
I think the oldest Peter Jackson movie that I've seen is The Frighteners.
Okay. So before The Frighteners, he did a series of movies. One was called Bad Taste. One was called Meet the Feebles, and one was called Dead Alive. And they are just over the top, offensive. Dead Alive is definitely kind of one of my favorite zombie movies ever. If you've never seen it, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
please
check
watch
that out.
Dead Alive. There's a scene where the main character straps a lawnmower onto his chest with the blade facing out,
Right.
and just kind of like runs into this room full of zombies, and there's just blood and guts and gore everywhere. And it's crazy because you watch a movie like that and then you're like, that guy made Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So Peter Jackson definitely has a lot of kudos from me from his like old cult film days, because back when I discovered his early work was right when I was out of high school. And this was like 1999, 2000 era. There was a video store that had a cult movie section. And I was really into trauma and all that kind of stuff. And I saw Bad Taste, and it's this alien. He's like flipping you off on the cover of the VHS tape. And I was like, ooh, I got to see that. And it's great. Peter Jackson himself is starring in that movie.
Really?
There's a scene where he falls off a cliff and he cracks his head open. And some of his brain falls out. So he like picks it up and like sticks it back in and then shuts his skull flap down and like ties like a towel or something around it. But then he finds these aliens and he sees this alien brain and he picks up a piece of that and like sticks it in there too. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And Meet the Feebles is like an adult Muppets where like they do this Muppet show type variety show, but all the Muppets are still Muppets after the show,
Right.
And they're all doing like coke and fucking each other. Yeah, it's great. And then so Dead Alive, the holy trilogy of Peter Jackson's early work, Dead Alive, Bad Taste, and Meet the Feebles, and I strongly recommend
that everyone check these out. Yeah,
check them out. But anyway, Happytime Murders. Don't you think if we were going to have an R-rated puppet movie
there
with
is
a
no
wide release,
better time.
Exactly, that there's no better time for that to come out with Sausage Party and the Deadpool success of this last year. It seems like we're ready for it. And I think that audiences had made the statement with their wallets that, you know what, just because we're adults doesn't mean we don't want to see CGI R-rated movies or puppet movies or hardcore comic book movies.
Well, and it reminds me a little bit of the musical Avenue Q. Also, very adult-oriented, puppet-based.
I've heard of that. I haven't seen it.
I mean, it's a comedy, obviously, and it's a musical, But Avenue Q came out in the early 2000s. I think I was in high school when that movie opened, or not that movie, that stage show opened in New York. And like when I was in high school, everyone had like heard the soundtrack for it and would just sing these horrifyingly offensive Muppet
I gotta
songs.
hear it now. I gotta hear these songs.
One of the most well known of the songs from Avenue Q is called "The Internet Is for Porn." Which, I mean, we know that's just an absolute fact. But at the time, you never heard Muppets singing about porn.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean...
And was this a successful musical?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I say I'm pretty sure, but I have absolutely no idea.
So why haven't they done a movie version of Avenue Q then?
I have no idea.
With all the successful musicals off Broadway that get turned into movies?
Okay, but like Phantom of the Opera has been a stage show for what, 30, 35, 40 years?
Yeah.
And they only got like a major main screen release with like relatively big name stars. Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum were in that. And that was what, 2007?
But what about Hairspray? Okay, so that's a perfect example.
Hairspray was like 2008.
Hairspray was a John Waters film. Another one of those directors that has a whole backlog of fucked up movies.
Yeah.
John Waters. So Hairspray was a John Waters film that was made in the 80s, was not a musical, okay? It was definitely about music, okay?
Yeah.
And dancing and stuff like that. And then it was turned into a Broadway musical. And the success of that, they made the Broadway musical into a movie starring John Travolta.
Yeah.
Yeah, with, but Ricky Lake and Divine were in the original Hairspray.
Right.
So it's definitely possible, right?
Yeah.
So why haven't they made this? And, okay, so let's say this. Do you think that with the success of Deadpool, the success of Sausage Party, if Happytime Murders gets greenlit and does well, how long do you think it'll be before they put out an Avenue Q movie?
I would say within 2 years.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So
if Happytime Murders does get greenlit and it does well, which I would want to see, like based on the synopsis that you read me, yes, that absolutely sounds like a movie that I would kill to see, because it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, except not as stupid.
Oh, I
love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Do not get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. But it was cartoon characters rather than Muppets. You can do more, I think, with Muppets. And there were some dark segments in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but I mean, Roger himself was still very much a wacky, zany character, as opposed to what you can do, theoretically at least, with a Muppet character.
Right. I guess time will tell. I mean, we've had 2 major Muppet movie releases within the last decade. And why not? Why not do another Labyrinth or Dark Crystal? Why have we kind of gone away from the whole puppet thing?
I don't know.
I know traditional animation has taken a back seat to CGI, but stop motion animation movies are still getting made.
Speaking of which, my significant other and I saw Kubo and the Two Strings yesterday.
All right, hold on a second. We'll talk about that in just a second.